This is a really cool spy magazine that I picked up at the store. Um, as you can see, there's a lot of really cool things, historical major incidents, a lot to do with Russia, China, even Japan, Mexico, and also Poland. A lot of countries actually. Well, a lot of countries fought with you know who, America, so of course there's a lot of incidents in here involving countries with that have fought with America, which is pretty much half of the world. But anyways, so um, even Canada, if you guys remember, well, you wouldn't remember because you weren't alive, but Canada had a war with America too. Of course, you remember that guy. I'm not gonna talk about 9/11 today because I wanted to talk about the Russians today because Russia is currently there's a big war, right? And I wanted to say something about that. Obviously, the war is bad, but I wanted to say that something was interesting posted in the news about 5 years ago. And basically, there was not a spy ring, not like the Russian, because the KGBs, they caught them in the States in 2010. They arrested like 30 Russian illegals and yada yada. I'm not talking about that. But 5 years ago, there was something found inside of a Russian submarine, an old Russian submarine that was washed up. It was apparently purchased by the Americans. And in the submarine, they found this weird technology. Weird setup for a technological, basically, submarine. And they weren't sure, apparently, the Americans, if this was some mistake by Russia. Obviously, the Russians didn't have possession of the submarine no more. And they weren't sure if it was an accident, if what was going on there. But what was interesting about the news story, which was the comments were turned off. And there were 5 different videos reporting on this incident, and no one was allowed to make comments. All of the news stations specifically turned comments off so you could not make a comment on these videos. And I thought to myself, that's odd because usually there's at least one news station that will let people make comments, and none of them would. I went to check back a few weeks later on this whole submarine mysterious find, Americans find this mysterious Russian submarine story. I went to go look for these videos weeks later, and they were all removed. And these were legit media sources like CBC, NBC. These weren't just like random people making up a story about a Russian submarine. This was legitimately CBC, NBC. They were talking about this Russian submarine that the Americans found, and then suddenly, for no reason that I can think of, all the videos were removed. You couldn't see them anymore about this story about this Russian submarine. So my guess, what happened was they came across this special weird technology in this Russian submarine, and they suddenly realized that this should be classified. And the Americans realized that suddenly this should be classified. They shouldn't be telling the public about what they found. And I think that's my theory as to why suddenly they removed all of the videos about this Russian submarine that they found, that the Americans found. So what I personally don't like, and this is just my little thing I want to say, is I don't like when they don't allow you to make comments on videos, because I feel like society needs to have an active role in the defense of their countries. You can't just leave up the defense of your country up to the people who are paid to do it, because the people who are paid to do it often become corrupted by money. Hence, they're being paid to protect the country, but are they really doing it? Are they really actually protecting the country is the first question. And two, are they just doing it for money, and can they be easily corrupted? I would rather have people who are protecting the country not for money, but because they truly care about the country. And so the problem is that unfortunately the people who are responsible or being paid to protect the country actually aren't protecting the country, and instead they're causing more problems. And, like for example, I don't know, but which country did recently Trump get into an argument with? Was it North Korea, Japan? I don't know. Pretty sure there's a recent country where Trump was getting into a verbal argument with, no, I think it was Iran, right? No, it wasn't North Korea. That was years ago, the North Korea argument with Trump. There's a recent one about Iran, something about Iran and Trump having words on Twitter or something about to start World War IV or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm saying. So the people who are being paid, like the actual president who to protect the country, are actually. So basically, my point is, and I'm not going to talk about Trump because I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with anyone. I just wanted to say something that we need more people to step up to the plate, volunteer. We have volunteers all the time. So society needs more people to volunteer, step up, and you can't just rely on your government to defend the country. You need to, as a citizen, like what's that American politician? Remember that guy who said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." Remember that American politician? He was famous for saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Part of what I believe he was saying was the citizens need to step up. So exactly with this spy magazine, you can take it into your own hands to keep an eye on your country. And I mean, we pretty much do this every day with the news. You follow news articles and you make comments on elections and you vote. Obviously, people do that as well. But do they really have a grasp on even modern basic espionage 101? Does the average American, average Canadian, average even Russian, well, I mean, I think in Russia, they pretty much teach all their people to be like more patriotic, right? And the States, they do that too. But recently, I mean, I saw a whole bunch of all those videos where they were, I don't know, doing something with the flag. Anyways, typically countries try to teach their citizens to defend the country, right? To be patriotic, defend the motherland. And lately I've noticed that there's been a trend where people have been not defending the country. And I just wanted to say that it's time people need to step up and in your own hands, take matters into your own hands in defending the country. And it's very simple. It's very, very simple. And my strategy for defending the country is education and diplomacy. Education and diplomacy, we can solve all of our problems. Well, maybe not. I'm not an expert on diplomacy, but in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I'm not an expert, but I have the right to say my opinion. My opinion is this. There's always a peaceful solution to every problem. Maybe the peaceful solution is not so obvious at the beginning. Maybe it's something that needs to be worked out. But war is a last resort. War is always a last resort. There's always a peaceful, in my opinion, diplomatic way. You just have to figure out what that way is. But once you figure out what that way is, there's always a peaceful, diplomatic way to solve a problem. So I really wanted to say that I don't like the war. I don't like war. War is not good. Obviously, nobody likes war. Well, actually, maybe there are people who like war because let's face it, the American military industrial complex, they're funded by war. But anyways, in general, like good everyday people naturally should not like war. No one should like war. It's not something that's fun. It's not a game. War is very serious. And I just want to promote peace and say there's always a peaceful way, in my opinion, to solve a problem, usually. And war is a last resort. So if you can find a peaceful way to solve a problem, do that first. And only consider war if it's the absolute last resort. So that's what I want to say for this first video series. And I'm doing a whole video series on whistleblowers. And that's it. And this is my very first not my first YouTube video, but my first long YouTube video, because I usually do shorts because I'm not good at public speaking. So yeah, okay. I strongly suggest people pick up this magazine, this cool spy magazine. It's really cool. It's not that expensive. It was only like 15 bucks. Well, maybe to some people that might be expensive, but anyways, I don't buy magazines every day. I'm not like constantly purchasing magazines. I only purchase them sometimes if I really like them or if I'm interested in the topic. And so this one was worth it. It has a lot of good information. And anyways, yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna try to improve on my videos, keep them educational and entertaining, trying to find a fine balance between entertaining, educational, and improve my public speaking and not ramble on like I'm doing now. Okay, thank you. Bye. Do svidania.